Hey, we're here over on Patreon doing the spoiler talk for Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Thanks for joining us and thanks for supporting us to get you to this point. Livius, it sounds like, wants to get right into the pile of Jasons, so I guess that's what we're going to do now.
For anybody who didn't read the book, who just wants to hear the spoiler talk, I guess I'll get you caught up. So Jason is kidnapped by Jason, sent back into his place in the multiverse. Jason eventually figures out how to use the multiverse machine, goes to 24 different multiverses till he finally gets back to his on his last pill, which was a little bit boring. That, like, the last one's the one that did it. That type of stuff always drives me crazy.
I was really hoping it would be the first try.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then he's got 24 pills to do other shit with, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So he gets back to, Earth One, and he winds up going online and going to this website, and there's a bunch of Jasons walking back and forth. And to me, this is where the book really went from good to great. And I'll say this is why. First of all, having, as you said, a pile of Jasons is fucking brilliant. That a bunch of him ended up coming back. The fact that they're adversarial is even better. And how each one, based on the things he's gone through and the things he's seen, has a different desire, I thought was really, really good stuff.
So that's one of the things I didn't see coming, which I was a little bit surprised I didn't see that coming, because, like, based on the science and how it was explained, like, it would have been obvious that would be every decision that's made creates a new Jason who also wants to get back to the fucking reality that he was ripped from. So I don't know how I didn't see it coming, but the moment that in that like sporting goods store or whatever, when she's saying, like, is this a fucking joke or whatever? Like, once it kicked in, I was like, oh, duh. Yeah, totally. So now I know where we're going with this. And that actually probably for me introduces the biggest, like, moral and emotional, like, problem of the entire story, which is, like, every Jason that happened after he was abducted pretty much equally deserves to come home, but they all can't.
For sure. And like I said, that's where it gets interesting. So you have the few Jasons that are like, anything we can do to save Daniela and the kid, and you can appreciate all them, right? And then you have the ones that, the one guy that says, like, I've already killed 4 of you, LOL, basically. Like, where are the rest of you? Like, this is great. Because it's all based, like I said, on the different situations they've encountered to get there. So not just all the weird post-nuclear worlds and shit that he goes to, because I thought some of that was a little on the lame side. I mean, like, I get the butterfly effect, but really what they're saying is decisions that he made caused the end of the world, which I'm not, he didn't seem like that big of a deal guy to me. That makes sense?
I didn't take it that way. I don't think that the box is showing you, maybe I'm wrong about this. I didn't take it as the box is showing you all the different realities based on what you did. It's just like all of the different, all the different universes that are out there, like, in general, that are generated by anybody's choices. But I that's how I took it. But
yeah, the reason I say that is because everything that was different in the worlds had to do with decisions based on him getting together with Daniela or not, and that drug allows you to access basically the other threads, because it does whatever to your brain. I don't remember how they explained it. It blocks something in your prefrontal cortex or some shit. So my understanding of it was he was seeing, all right, if you were to take the drug, there would be the, you decided not to do this podcast, and this is how the world changed because of it. And you would see these different variations. Do you follow what I'm saying? I think they would only be things that you affected.
So I guess my counter argument to that is that makes no sense with, like, the futuristic Chicago and, like, the apocalyptic Chicago. Like, it would make more sense if you're just accessing all of the multiverses that exist, not ones that are just tied to your timeline.
So I'm agreeing with you. It makes no sense because, like, and again, that was my whole issue with it, which goes to the end too. Like, I don't see the point of him letting the kid make the decision.
Yeah.
because they just end up in other worlds where either Jason and Daniela never got together, or they got together. So there's either 3 doppelgangers, for lack of a better term, or there's only 2 and the kid never existed, or there's 1, because Jason, whatever, just left her and she's a single mom. That kind of situation.
Okay, actually, no. Yeah, I'm going to say how you're wrong, and I apologize for telling you you're wrong. But like, didn't he, when he was visiting the different worlds, go to ones where like they never got together, or she died before he even was abducted and stuff like that?
Well,
so the variation would have happened before his abduction.
Well, we know that because in some worlds, they, like the first one he goes to, they dated, but they were never married.
Right. So that doesn't. So maybe I'm misunderstanding you. I thought you were saying that the machine only takes you to places that it branch off from. Where, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
From things that you've caused.
Yep. Exactly. But I mean through his whole life, because there's multiverse portals from the time he was old enough to make decisions. So how do I say this? In this scenario, which, by the way, I'm not going to get into it, but I hear scientists go, no, it's totally possible we're in a multiverse. It's utter bullshit is what I think that is. So, but suspend disbelief for the reading of this book. Okay. The thought behind a multiverse is that you create a new multiverse every time you make a different decision. My multiverse and your multiverse are not the same because you and I have made different decisions. So the fact that he never met her, so the fact that they never got married, Jason too is the prime example, obviously, because we know most about that story. He decided that he didn't want to get tied down because he really wanted to focus on his science. So you have the splinter there, but there would have been splinters from before that. So like a splinter where he's 14, where he maybe decides, we don't see this in the book, but maybe he decides he really likes playing soccer and winds up failing science class. So in that multiverse he could have traveled to, he could be a world famous soccer player. But it's his multiverse.
Yeah, I don't see it that way.
Okay. And we can agree to disagree on that. I think that still goes in place to the end of, like, the kid making the decision was going to be a good decision somehow. That kid's still going to put them into some world where either they exist or they don't exist. I don't see how that's any different than having Daniela pick or having him pick, I guess.
Sure. This is where it gets like this is honestly, I'm going to take this moment to talk about one of the things that I didn't like about the book, and it was just so focused on the science of it. And I think that not necessarily focus on the science of it, but focus on what was going on because of the abduction and everything, and less on like the development of characters. So it's just this like sprint through him trying to get back home and what that looks like, seeing like, futuristic Chicagos and Chicagos that are falling apart and all that stuff. And then like basically when he gets where he's trying to go, it almost immediately introduces all the other Jasons. So I feel like more of the story was dedicated to the blowback from all the science shit happening, and way less to like what is going on with the actual characters. And that bothered me. Because like, I think it's a fucking fun idea, but I don't think it's what the book should be about. Like, I think it should be about the development of like Jason and Daniela and stuff like that. And it didn't end up really being that way.
Yeah, I was a little bored with, I guess, the science portion of it, because all that just running down hallways and picking doors seemed really lame. And that's why I think he did better in Recursion with the time travel aspect.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the movie Triangle?
No. Is that one of the time travel movies that you talk about?
Yes, sort of. Yes. There's I don't want to say it. There's such a great scene in that this book reminded me of, which didn't hurt the book any at all. There's just this mind blowing scene in that movie, something that happens to one of the characters, and I was like, oh, this is so good, and I totally got that feel towards the, multiple Jasons emerging.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's tough because, the suspension of disbelief also then can put in the questioning of the device too. You know what I mean? Like it's a double-edged sword when you play with this kind of thing, because someone will try to poke holes in the plot.
Well, it also, you paint yourself into a corner because like if you're saying, hey, this is a science thing, and when this happens, this is the result, it's very hard to fuck with that result. And when he introduced the multiple Jasons, while that was brilliant, and I think it was kind of a good choice for the story, you knew that the rest of the book was dealing with a guy getting out from under this multiple Jason thing. And I don't know.
He did telegraph it well, and it's something that I didn't give much thought of, but he does run into another Jason in the hallway super early on, like after door number 1, maybe.
Yeah.
So, and that should have given me an idea about the pile of Jasons at the end, and for some reason it didn't. So I'm a little disappointed in myself there. You know what occurred to me about this book is that the multiverse that starts it is not ours. And I'll tell you why. Because he fucking, when Jason 2 kidnaps him, he gives him an address on Pulaski Road, but it's Pulaski Avenue and there's no north or south. So it doesn't actually take place in our Chicago. So it actually starts in a different multiverse.
That's interesting. Oh, you know what? You reminded me of something that I wanted to talk about on Spoiler Talk. Understanding how you get to the universe that you get to. How in the hell did Jason 2 send our Jason to his specific universe?
Oh, that's a pretty big plot hole. Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing I can think of is Jason 2, the creator of this, may have had access to more stuff than we know about, being the creator. So, yes, it would have been helpful if that was included in the story. So I'm still calling it a plot hole. But I mean, I guess that's the way I would explain around it if I was the author and someone asked me. I'd say, like, dude, Jason 2 has all kinds of fucking shit that you don't know about.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a cop-out, but I see what you're saying.
For sure.
That's, but yeah, that just occurred to me as I was reading this. Is like, how the fuck, if it's so difficult for these guys, and they had, 46 or 48 or something doses, and Jason 2 left with 100, so he didn't really have so much of a tactical advantage over our Jasons, except for that our Jason didn't create the machine.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, I'm trying to think of other spoiler stuff to talk about. Would probably be, I don't know. There's not much really. I like my. I'm going to say this very plainly. I think that it was a good story, and I think it was entertaining. And basically, all my objections about it are more technical. Like, I thought that the book was kind of it kind of moves at a really breakneck pace, which doesn't allow for much like nuance in what's going on. There's the repetition of going to the different worlds. It doesn't really let you slow down and kind of drink in what's going on. So there's a moment in one of the worlds he visits where obviously there's some sort of crazy plague that has happened, and he goes to his house, and Danielle is there, but she's practically dead from this plague. The son's already gone, and it's like heart-wrenching for him. And I didn't really have any emotional connection to that, because between the abduction happening almost immediately and all of the other stuff that's going on, I didn't build much of an emotional connection with any of the characters. And I think it's in large part due to the pace and all of the stuff that he tried to pack in to keep it moving. So that was kind of one of the things that I had trouble with.
I can totally see that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have anything else. I mean, I think that we've spoiled as much as we can spoil in spoiler talk.
Which is weird, because I thought we were going to talk about a lot of stuff, and basically once we got done talking about how the machine works, we're like, all right.
Well, I mean, outside of multiple Jasons, I can't really picture a whole lot to. Oh, I do want to touch on something you said about the Amanda. Maybe I was kind of hoping she would make a reappearance at some point.
Yep.
Because she did just, was it Richie Cunningham's older brother? She went upstairs and then never came back down.
That's I don't get the reference, but I understand what you're saying.
Oh,
like
on
she just got
Days. Yeah, on Happy Days, there was a character, and his last appearance was like he went upstairs, and they never addressed that he was never back on the show.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And like, so that actually did, that did one thing for the plot, which was to establish that where you go, is based on the collective kind of influence of whoever's in the box. So they were always just going to end up in universes where like that are influenced by both of their feelings. So he would never get home if he had her with him. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like she had gotten close enough to him and they were in this together and they were the only two people like in existence. Well, I guess I can't say that because of the fucking story, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who were going through something like this, they were very lonely together. So they had a special bond that like, I don't know, like there was something there that could have been explored. And I feel like I liked the Amanda character more than the Daniela character.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You ready to go wrap this up?
I am.
All right. Thanks again for being a Patreon contributor. We love you guys. You guys make this so much easier to do than the people who don't contribute, if I'm being honest, and they're not here to hear this. So I guess I could just say it. So we'll be back in a couple weeks with more spoiler talk.